Hello there. Today we're at Cuivre River State Park and we're going to hike the Cuivre River Trail on the North Loop. And in the middle of this hike we're going to have an opportunity to do some bushwhacking to attempt to locate the gravestones for David and Mary Duey. It's been raining for the last 2 days, kind of in the mid to high 30s right now, so it should be cold, wet, and muddy. Here we go. Well, this is kind of neat. We're only maybe a half mile down the trail. We've got an old power line cut. The power poles are still here, going this direction behind me and then behind the camera. All the wires are cut off, but it looks like maybe an old roadbed right off here to the right too, and a campsite. Let's take a look real quick. This is not an established campsite or park one. It's just something somebody set up. Let's look. Well, I guess it's not really a campsite. We've got this kind of grill on a concrete pad, and that's all that's here. Definitely an old road going off this direction down into a valley. This looks really old. This has been here a long time. Maybe some CCC work from the 1930s. Okay, so when it's drier out and I have more time, I'm definitely coming back here again to do some major bushwhacking and exploring in these woods. I know the CCC was pretty big in this area in the 1930s, and they had some camps and stuff built out here. Maybe we could find some cool stuff. But while I'm here, I think I'll take a little bit more of a look around, just curiosity. Alright, so we're a ways down this old road, and it's getting kind of thick. I have a tendency to do this, oh look, a squirrel, and then sort of get sidetracked from my original objective, which is not this. But it looks like we're paralleling the power lines over here. Looks like there's possibly a pond over here, 100 yards or so. So I'm coming back for some exploration. I'd like to know where this goes. I'd like to know where the power lines went. What was it for? Maybe there's some old buildings out here in the woods, old camp sites, or campgrounds, something like that. All right, let's get back to the trail and our original objective. Okay, so I cut over to the power line to go back up to the trail, and there's really an established path following this power line, and maybe halfway down from the trail to the bottom of the valley. If there's a path here, that means people are walking out here, hopefully for a reason. It could just be to satisfy their curiosity like I'm doing right now. But I'm going to get diverted one more time. Let's see where this goes. Well, this path is becoming more like a game trail. That may be all it is. I'm going to follow it for a bit more just to find out. Well, we've come about a mile and a half maybe from the trail, and we're actually back to the trail. So this is a 4-mile loop trail, and this path, I guess, just cuts through the middle. There's a natural spring on this trail. I can see the convergence of two streams just down here. The water's flowing pretty well, and some patches of ice and snow are left behind, which is kind of surprising after all the rain we've had. What I'm going to do is go back to where I picked up on the power lines and get back on the trail from there. I don't know if you could see the two orange blazes on this tree behind me. And let me turn the camera around. And we have the orange blazes here on this tree signifying this is the trail. Don't go here on the path that I'm currently on. So it's probably a shortcut for people that want to get to the spring or to the streams, but I know that somewhere on this trail, I've never been on it before, is a bluff view across the Big Sugar Creek Valley. It's Sugar Bluff is the name of that bluff, and I want to see that view. Plus, I have to get back to the trail to get to one of the backcountry campsites and start the bushwhack to find the gravestones for David and Mary Duey. So we'll pick it back up when we're on the trail. Curiosity satisfied. So sometimes a path is just a shortcut, but while we're making our way back, let's talk about David and Mary Duey. Well, let's start with the legend first, and then we'll start to talk about the facts behind David and Mary Duey. We're going to have to read this. It's more than I wish to commit to memory. It is said that there are two restless spirits that wander the hilltops that overlook Big Sugar Creek in the park. Hand in hand, they will forever search for their 10 children that were never laid to rest in the family gravesite. David Duey and his wife Mary are buried in what is now the middle of the park. So we have a little bit of romance, I guess, and in a sad sort of way. We'll make our way back to the trail and I'll tell you the rest. David was born in 1812 in Jackson County, West Virginia. He and Mary had 9 boys and 1 girl. David passed away on December 27th, 1858, and he was buried 1/4 mile from his homestead on a hilltop. And Mary passed away 22 years later in 1880. And beside their gravestones are 10 smaller stones that were set aside for their children that never came home to be buried. It had been the greatest wish of David, even in death, that he, his wife, and their 10 children would be buried together. Legend says that as long as their children are not brought to the family graveyard, David and Mary will wander restlessly eternally looking for their missing children. Back on trail, and it's rocky, so much better than mud. Okay, well the trail takes a 90-degree bend to go downhill. Behind me you can see the grade for the old roadbed that we were on earlier, so now I know where we would have come out if we'd have followed it instead of that path along the power line. Just another shortcut is what it would have been, but this road, who knows how old it is. It's, well, it's old, let's put it that way, at least I'd say from the 1930s, so close to 100 years. Okay, I have no idea what the number 19 stands for, but our trail is going to go up the hill. Here we have the number 5, which is a connector trail, actually over to Cheatham Road. Then you could go down the road and into the south loop if you wish to go that way. It looks pretty swampy to me, but it looks pretty though. We're going to go uphill, which I'm glad, because I'm looking for the first backpack campsite on this trail, which looks like it was more towards the top of a hill, and that's where we'll start our bushwhack for the gravestones. Let's take a look at the map. I'll give you an idea of what we're doing today. Okay, I'm going to hold this up against this very wet tree. We are on the Orange Trail. We parked here at this trailhead, which is for the Big Sugar Creek Trail and the Cuivre River North Loop. They share this piece of trail right here. we have worked our way down to this connector trail, connector number 5. Soon we'll find a spur trail up to the backpack camp. From there we'll start our bushwhack. This orange trail that we're on continues this way, and this is Dewey Spring. I know that this is all the information I have on the gravestones, is that on a hilltop, somewhere between the backpack camp and the spring, I'll find the 2 gravestones. That's it. I'm assuming that the home site would have been closer to the spring, but I haven't seen any information about there being any remains from that. Whenever we do find the gravestones, we'll backtrack because I really want to do the whole trail and get that bluff view, get the springs, and then back to the trailhead. Okay, the trail goes this way, but there's a path up the hill this way, but there's not a marker like a carcinite post with a tent symbol on it or anything to kind of confirm this is the camp area. But I'm going to have to check it out, and we'll see. Well, the path goes steeply uphill and tees into another trail, which I'm guessing is the trail we're supposed to be on. So I'm going to go back down the hill, back to the trail, and I expect to be back to this spot in about 10 to 15 minutes. Man, these shortcuts are killing me today. This may be Sugar Bluff. I'm not sure because it's not marked on the map. But you can see across the valley at the bottom is Bigger Sugar Creek, and it is full of water. And all the sycamores are beautiful down there. I also think I missed that backpack camp. I'm going to keep hiking on and we'll figure it out down the trail. It's beautiful looking across this valley and down at the tops of those sycamores. Okay, here's our spur trail to the backpack camp. We'll go up and check it out and start the bushwhack for the gravestones. That's a pretty nice site. You got your standard fire ring with the grill, logs for sitting around it. It's been used a lot of ash. And it's a pretty level area up here on the ridge line for a tent. So I'm looking for clues, like an established path for the people that have gone before me. Or it's guesswork, you know. Guesswork and clues is kind of how I find these things. I do see a path going off this direction, down the hill towards the trail that we were on into that valley where we had that bluff view. And there may be a path going this way, which is the way we need to go. Here we go. Well, it's an old well, 10, 12 feet deep, widens out at the bottom. It's dry right now, which is kind of surprising with all the rain we've had lately, which makes me think the home site might have been in this area right here. Why else have a well here? Well, this is much easier than I expected. It's really not that far from that campsite, and there's an established path over here from there. We're right up on top of a ridge line. Gorgeous views in all directions from up here too. So this is going to be almost impossible to make out. I'm going to guess this is David because of the anchor up here at the top. That's no guarantee. Someday I'm going to remember to bring paper and some chalk or something and just kind of pick up what's on these gravestones. I can't make this one out at all. Let's look at the other one. Well, this other gravestone also has an anchor on it, so I have no idea what that symbolizes. If you know, please let me know in the comments. I'm really curious about that. I've never seen that on a gravestone before. I'm pretty sure this is David Duey, D-U-E-Y. So the one to the left must be Mary's. That's about all I can make out. There are a couple of stones over here for the children. I'll show you those. And here to the side of the gravestones for David and Mary, running to the left, are the children's stones. There's one here, here. This looks like there's another one leaning against that. We have one here. There's one here. There's one back here behind me as well. And one over here to my right. I'm sorry, two to the right. So that's most of the 7, or I'm sorry, most of the 10, 7 of the 10. Okay, so all 10 of the children's stones are here. The rest are just laying on the ground. It's 2 rows of 5. What an interesting story. Just think, at one point before the park, all of this land was owned by individuals trying to make a living from it. It's really interesting. We're going to go back to the camp, back to the trail where we left off, and finish our hike. I'm looking forward to seeing Dewey Springs. Okay, so I've got to take a moment to talk about what a beautiful day this is. It's probably around 40, roughly 40, 41. That's what we're supposed to get to for our high today. Slightly breezy. It's beautiful out here. I'm the only one out here, thousands of acres to myself. We've got this gorgeous valley with a wide flat bottom. It's kind of green down there, and there's a swollen stream from the recent rains that's out of its banks that kind of meanders through the valley. And then you can see the rolling hills and the mist in the valleys and between the hills. I can hear the stream from up here, some birds. Man, this is beautiful. I like to have a front porch right here with a small fire and a coffee and a rocking chair. Just enjoy the view for the rest of the day. Time to get going. In the past few months, Big Sugar Creek has been bone dry in all of my videos. It just took a few days of rain to bring it up to the tops of its banks. This should come through down here at the bottom of the valley. It actually looks like a river right now. I would definitely call that a river and not a stream or a creek. Wow, that is beautiful. Hope we walk down there. Well, this must be Sugar Bluff that we're walking along now. I'm lucky to be here on a day when the creek's flooded. It's beautiful. Okay, so there's a sign on a tree over here that says Sugar Bluff Overlook. I have no explanation for the ropes through the trees. And I just realized a moment ago, you want to play a drinking game? Take a shot every time I say the word beautiful. Sometimes I just use a word too many times in one video. Well, let's see what kind of view we have. Wasn't that beautiful? Okay, so here we're at White Connector Trail number 4. All the connector trails used to be just a color, like white or blue or red. And then the state park system decided they all had to have numbers a few years ago. I kind of like that. It lets you know where you are on the trail when it's numbered. We'll go this way, but this would connect you to the South Loop, which is a bigger trail than this one. And you do have to cross Big Sugar Creek on this connector trail, which I think would be really sketchy today. We're going this way. Well, we're in the bottoms now, and they are soggy. Does that make me a soggy bottom boy? So by the way, I have 3 children and 5 grandchildren. So I've earned the right to tell dad jokes. And yes, I do think they're funny. Okay, so this is Dewey Spring. It's a wet weather spring, so this summer it would have been dry. Man, look at that flow. We've got it from 2 places, over here and then back there. That's impressive. This is the outflow from the spring as it meanders its way through the valley to Big Sugar Creek. I like to see where those two come together. I just finished climbing up out of that valley. I've got to lose these jackets for a while. Well, it's much better. You're not supposed to sweat at 40 degrees. All right. Here's the spur trail to the second backpack camp. Let's go check it out. Well, it certainly wins awards for the approach trail. It's tucked away back in this valley. Pretty private, a bit off the trail. Flat enough. Yeah, this would be a nice one. Oh man. All right. Oh, yeah. Okay. Woo. All right. This is it. All right. Man, I'm hungry. I'm practically on the verge of hangry right now. But I'm too lazy to stop and take off this pack to pull out a snack. I keep thinking we can't be that far from the car. Well, I was close to the car, so I'm glad I waited. Let's talk about this hike for a minute. Beautiful day, perfect weather. I like these overcast days with a slight breeze and it's kind of chilly. Not too bad though. And we just had 2 days of rain, so the springs were flowing heavy, the streams were full, and the views were gorgeous. Beautiful hike. I highly recommend this after a couple of days of rain. Those two backpack sites looked like they'd both be pretty nice choices, and it was so easy to find the gravestones for David and Mary Duey. So the whole thing just was a breeze today. I loved it. Hope you enjoyed our time together. See you next week.